Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another video on the channel. Today we have the FA Cup Round 3 predictions. Now first of all, we did say that this was going to be filmed with Philip, but he didn't wake up in time for when we was going to film it on Monday and on Tuesday. So instead, he has a section in the QPR versus Fulham game and he's going to be running us through everything in that game. But if you are new to the channel, then make sure you do subscribe. Down below a couple of new subscribers on the Carabao Cup video, so if you're new, welcome. If you are new and you're not subscribed, then hit the subscribe button and smack my ball to be notified when I upload predictions. The next video that's going to be going out will be the Premier League video, the predictions for game week 18, and sometime soon come to the channel. If you're interested in F1, we've got F1 2021 predictions coming with Philip. So yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into this video because we have 32 games to get through. So as you can see next to me, we have the graphic. There's only 10 games here. These are the games that I'm going to be speaking about. The other 22, to be honest, I'm just going to give a score prediction, maybe a little bit of intel if I know something about the teams. But my knowledge of the League 1 or League 2 teams isn't the greatest, even the National League. Championship I know a bit about, but I'm going to try my best to give predictions for this video and try and be fair with it. Regarding like upsets and everything. So the first game is Aston Villa versus Liverpool. Now, you think of that and you think of the 7-2 hammering that Villa gave Liverpool earlier on in the season. Without a doubt, that result will be on Liverpool's mind, even Aston Villa's mind. Now, in the last 5 Premier League games for both clubs, they both have picked up 8 points each, which isn't too bad for Villa, but in terms of Liverpool, you'd expect a lot better from the champions. The last results, Villa actually lost, so did Liverpool, they both lost by 1 goal. Man United beating Villa 2-1 on Friday, and on Monday Liverpool lost 1-0 to Southampton. So Villa have 3 more days rest, and I think that will actually benefit them. I think this game is going to be a 2-2 draw, taking it to a replay at Anfield. If they're doing replays, I'm not too sure. It could be going straight to penalties, but I think replays are going ahead. So I do think it's going to be a 2-2 draw, going to a replay at Anfield, and I do favour Liverpool to go through in the replay. This does depend on the team that Klopp puts out, because he doesn't seem to take these cup competitions seriously. So if it's a weakened Liverpool team, Villa will definitely have them for the taking. Also on Friday we have Wolves taking on Crystal Palace, an all Premier League affair. I think we'll see a couple of rotated players coming in for this game, but ultimately I think Wolves will go through, winning 2-1. Moving on to the Saturday games at 12 o'clock, and we have our first National League appearance as Boreham Wood host Millwall in a London derby. Pretty interesting to see this when it came out of the hat in the draw. Boreham Wood are on fire in the National League at the minute. In their last 5 games they have collected 12 points compared to Millwall, who have 5 points in their last 5 championship games, not doing as well as they did last season, pushing for playoffs last year. Although away from home, Millwall have a somewhat decent record. They are just negative in terms of points per game, collecting 10 points in 11 games. So to be fair, it's pretty poor. For some reason I thought there was 1 point per win. But it's pretty poor compared to Boreham Wood, who have 7 points in the 5 home games that they have played this season. This is the first meeting between the two sides as well, based on head-to-head, the app that everyone uses. So the first meeting, and I think this is going to be a 1-1 draw. Boreham Wood taking Millwall to a replay at the Den, and I do think Millwall would win the replay. Just want to quick say, if you can hear a dog barking now, that dog's a fucking idiot. I love dogs, but he's a prick. Moving on to Everton taking on Rotherham from the Championship. I think this will be a bog standard, easy win for Everton. I'm going with a 3-0 win for the Toffees. Now an all Championship affair as Luton take on Reading. Reading have star player Michael Elise, who a couple of people that I know him, and I hope he does come to Spurs. He's playing quite well for Reading over in the Championship. You're taking on Luton though away from him. I think it would be a tough game, and to be fair, I think Luton will turn them over 2-1. Another Championship affair as Norwich take on Coventry. I have a soft spot for Coventry. I don't actually know why, but I've done a career mode with them in FIFA 20 and I got them to the Europa League, and then my PlayStation died pretty much. So I have a really soft spot for Coventry. They played fantastic in their last game, winning 2-1 against Millwall away, so I think that's a bit of confidence for them. Now Norwich, whenever I think of Norwich, they're doing well, but whenever I pick them for like a bet, for example, they always mess it up. I think this is going to be a 1-1 draw. Another Championship affair as Nottingham Forest take on Cardiff. Nottingham Forest not doing the best, currently sitting in 19th compared to Cardiff, who are sitting 15th, so not much to separate the two sides. But ultimately, I think Nottingham Forest will win 1-0. Now moving on to Chorley taking on Derby. Chorley, who are in the National League South, the second lowest ranked side left in the competition. Taking on Derby, who have refound their form under Wayne Rooney. He stopped playing, they're playing better. They did lose their last game 1-0 to Sheffield Wednesday, but they've played pretty well recently. Over the course of the last 5 games, definitely seen some improvement for Derby, collecting 7 points in their last 5 games. But Chorley in their last game, I don't actually know when it was, but in their last game they got thumped 4-0 away against AFC Fylde. So I think they'll be hanging over their head. Fylde are a decent team as well. They nearly got promoted to League 2, losing in the playoff final against Harrogate, I think they played. So I don't think Chorley can put up a bit of a fight, but I think since Wayne Rooney's taken over, Derby have rekindled their form to the team that we know can play in the Championship. I think Derby will walk away with a 2-1 win. Now moving on to Blackburn versus Doncaster. Blackburn, one of the better teams over the Championship, although their league position doesn't define that, only being 10th, but it's very close from the playoff to like 12th. I do think Blackburn will beat Doncaster in this game, winning 2-1. Now Blackpool taking on West Brom. A game where I think West Brom could struggle, but Big Sam, I think his focus will be on the Premier League, and I don't think they're going to be wanting an FA Cup run. So I'm predicting the first upset of the video, and I'm going with Blackpool to win 3-1. Moving on to Bristol Rovers versus Sheffield United. Again, similar to West Brom, I don't think that Chris Wilder's going to want to focus on the FA Cup run. They will want to survive in the Premier League, or at least put up a fight to survive. And I think Bristol Rovers can count on that, and I think Bristol Rovers will win 2-0. Now moving on to Burnley versus MK Dons. I'm not too interested in any game that Burnley are involved in. I do think that big Cameron Jerome can cause some problems for Burnley, and I think the MK Dons will get a replay out of the Premier League side, with this game being 1-0. Moving on to Exeter versus Sheffield Wednesday. Exeter, one of the informed sides in League 2 this season, against Sheffield Wednesday, who are still in the bottom of the Championship after their 15-point deduction that got removed. Ultimately, I think Exeter will actually beat the Championship side. I'm going with a 2-1 win for Exeter. Now League 2, Oldham taking on flying Championship side Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth will walk away with a win here, winning 3-0. And now we have QPR taking on Fulham. I'm going to give this over to Philip to give the run through of this fixture.
Hello, I am a Fulham fan and I'm here to give my thoughts on the upcoming game against QPR in the FA Cup. First of all, will the game be played? Not sure. Unless you're unaware, Fulham have had a big outbreak of COVID in their training ground. I think there's something like 9 or 11 players of ours in our first team. I don't actually know. Our last 2 games against Tottenham and Burnley have been postponed in the Premier League for that reason. Obviously, this is a big derby game, QPR versus Fulham. It's not a big derby game to the people who are above us. It's not on the likes of Chelsea versus Tottenham, or Arsenal versus Tottenham, or the Manchester derby. But you know, if you take these derbies as you can as football clubs, West London rivals. So the last time we played each other was in June of 2020, where we came out 2-1 victors away from home. Our head-to-head record against them is pretty good. We've got 8 wins, 2 draws, and QPR have 2 wins to their name. QPR's recent form. Shall we have a look at QPR's recent form? Don't pay attention to them because they're a bunch of cunts. They're currently sat 20th in the Championship. Ha 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 ha. They have had their game against Luton postponed, and they drew 1-1 with Norwich, and then they lost to Swansea, which, to be fair, in their last 2 is quite respectable because they played quite tough teams there. In terms of a score prediction for this game, I'm optimistic, but I'm not. I'm scared, but at the same time, I'd like to think that the players that are selected are going to at least be good enough to beat QPR. So yeah, I'm going to go the 2-1 win for the Cottagers, and we're going to win. Yay!
So Philip going with a 2-1 Fulham victory. I actually think that Fulham will win as well, but I think they will keep a clean sheet. I'm going with a 2-0 win for the Premier League side. Now League 2, Stevenage, who are struggling very much, taking on in-form Swansea of the Championship. I think it's going to be a walk in the park for the Championship side. I think they're going to win 4-1. Now Stoke versus Leicester, a game that did catch my eye when I was putting the teams on the graphic, but ultimately I had to take into consideration big Premier League games, the holders, and other National League teams like Chorley versus Derby. But yeah, this is a game that did catch my eye. Leicester, fantastic this season away from home against Stoke, who got to the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup and put up a fight against Spurs, but ultimately lost. I think they will put a fight up here against Leicester, but ultimately Brendan Rodgers' side will have too much quality for them. I think that Leicester will win 2-1. Another Championship affair here as Wycombe take on Preston. Preston, who have just signed Che Adams in their fan base, are not very happy, but whether he'll play, I'm not too sure. Ultimately, I think this will be a 1-0 win for Wycombe. Now the current FA Cup holders Arsenal taking on Newcastle. The last time these two sides met, it was back in February of last year when Arsenal dismantled Newcastle, winning 4-0 like they have done recently at home since in the last decade. They're just like battering them. Arsenal sort of found some form in the Premier League recently, collecting 10 points in their last 5 games compared to Newcastle, who have just the 2 in their last 5 games. And ultimately, I think that's going to reflect on this game. A couple of rotations, as always, for these type of round 3 games. But ultimately, I think Arsenal will win 3-1. Now, flying Brentford versus Middlesbrough. Brentford, who took the fight to Spurs yesterday, but ultimately lost, credit where credit's due, to the Championship side. Taking on playoff or automatic promotion rivals Middlesbrough. Tough game here, and I think the effects of the League Cup exit will remain on Brentford. And I think Middlesbrough are going to go through, winning 1-0. Now Huddersfield taking on Plymouth. Bog standard game, but up the pie face, we're going with a 2-0 win for Plymouth. Now Manchester United taking on Watford. Man United, who play tonight as I'm filming this, against Watford, who Ben Foster and his GoPro. So yeah, this is a pretty interesting game for me. I don't know why. If it was in the Premier League, I wouldn't care, but now it's an FA Cup game. Things change when you're doing well in the Championship, but ultimately I think Manchester United will win this game, winning 3-0. Now Southampton taking on Shrewsbury from League 1. Southampton did pick up a 1-0 win against Liverpool on Monday, and I think they're going to carry on their winning streak, winning 3-0. Winning 3-1. Now Barnsley taking on League 2 Tranmere. Barnsley, who are doing quite well, they're currently 9th in the Championship, and I think they can bolster their mentality here against Tranmere, winning 2-0. Now Bristol City taking on Portsmouth, a very interesting game if you pay attention to the EFL. Bristol City, who have always been around the playoffs for the last couple of seasons, currently sitting 10th, taking on Portsmouth, who do very well in League 1, should have been promoted a couple of times at least. Ultimately, I do think Portsmouth will take Bristol City to a replay at Fratton Park, with this game being a 2-2 draw. Now Crawley taking on Leeds. Crawley, who are flying in League 2 recently, collecting 11 points in their last 5 games, compared to Leeds, who have 9 points in the last 5 games but did lose their last game 3-0 to Tottenham. This is the first meeting between the two sides, but ultimately I do think Leeds will win the game, winning 2-1. Moving on to Chelsea versus Morecambe, Premier League versus League 2. Chelsea haven't been playing too well in the Premier League recently, only collecting 4 points in their last 5 games, compared to Morecambe, who have picked up 12 points in their last 5 League 2 games. So certainly the contrast in form, but the fact that Chelsea are a Premier League team, they're going to want to take their anger out on Morecambe here, and I think they're going to do just that. And I think Chelsea are going to win this game 6-1. Now a League 2 affair here as Cheltenham take on Mansfield. Cheltenham doing well over in League 2 compared to Mansfield, who sit 19th. I think this game will be a 1-0 win for Cheltenham. Just received a notification from Sky saying that Derby, Wayne Rooney and some players are going to miss the game against Chorley. I'm going to stick with my result that's there, but wouldn't be surprised if Chorley go through now. Now Manchester City taking on Birmingham. Nothing to say here except I think it'll be a bog standard 3-0 win for City. Moving on to Marine versus Tottenham now. Very interesting game. Spurs into the League Cup final after beating Brentford 2-0 yesterday. Marine, you've done fantastic to get to the 3rd round of the FA Cup, but your league form isn't too well. You've only collected 2 points in the last 5 games. They're down in the 8th tier of football in the National Premier League Division 1 North West League. You're not doing too well. You only have 17 points out of 20 games at home, which is the 2nd worst in the division. And I think you will bring the fight to Tottenham, but ultimately Spurs will have enough class to cruise through with a much rotated side, winning 3-0. Now Newport taking on Brighton. Newport, who are definitely flying over in League 2. Their last game did get postponed because of a frozen pitch. Brighton came back from 3-1 down against Wolves to draw 3-3. Newport have the second best home record in League 2, collecting 22 points out of the 9 games. And I think that's going to contribute to them beating Brighton here, winning 2-1. And now Stockport taking on West Ham, National League side. Stockport doing fairly well over in the National League. They've collected 11 points from their 6 games at home, which isn't too bad, only dropping 7 points. They have 5 points in their last 5 games. West Ham, they're up and down the whole season. They've just beaten Everton in a fantastic result for them, to be fair. So I think that's definitely some momentum that's built for them. And I think they will beat the National League side quite comfortably and then sit back. I think West Ham will win this game 2-0. So yeah, that's going to be it for the video. Quite a few rushed results, but a lot of games to get through. Let me know your predictions down below, any upsets that you think will happen. I'm interested to see what you think. As I said, subscribe to the channel, and if you can, drop a like on the video, it helps me out a lot. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.